Welcome, everybody, to the August 26, 2025 edition of the New Jersey Mycological Association's Taxonomy Tuesdays, where we share things we found, help each other identify them, and discuss interesting features of people's finds. So far, I have three people who have things to share: Lila, Dave, and probably Christopher. Let me know if there's anyone else who has anything to share. You can put it in the chat. But why don't we start up? You want to go first, Lila? How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay. So let me get everything situated here.
You want to bring them up or do you want me to?
Either way. You want me to?
I'll bring them up.
Okay, cool.
Yep. All right. Um, let's start in this order, I guess. I'll bring this one up. And let me share my screen with the green share button. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There we go. Now it's starting to come through. We can see your screen, Lila.
All right. Is it big enough? Can I make it bigger or how's it look on your end?
You could make it bigger.
Does that help?
Yeah.
All right. So everything I'm showing tonight, I think, is from the walks that I did with Hunter on yesterday, in fact. So I didn't get to the microscope yet, but I've been looking at all of these photographs and putting names to them. So we found lots of stuff, and this was one of the colorful things that we spotted. And here is what people really need to be looking at in order to identify this one. Does anyone have any ideas what this is, or shall I tell people?
I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but you can say so.
Yeah, let's let some of the newer people. Are there any new people on that maybe want to try to identify this? Yes, no? Okay. All right, so this is the false chanterelle, Hygrophoropsis aurantiaca, I think it's called.
Aurantiaca?
Aurantiaca.
Aurantiaca. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
Aurantiaca. So those are out. I know some people are finding chanterelles, and of course, you don't want to mix up a real chanterelle with one of these. And these are actual true gills here. So and this kind of fuzzy stipe that goes along, and you won't see that on a real chanterelle. So
it's not always fuzzy on these.
not always.
Yeah, it's probably a species complex.
Yeah, like everything seems to be a species complex. Well, not everything, a lot of things. So, all right, good.
I think that in margin is really characteristic, at least when they're young. Personally, I don't ever really see it blown out, flat, but they probably do that way.
Yeah, this is a young one. It hasn't spread out yet, and it'll perhaps even get to the point where it's a little bit concave. And the color on these is highly variable. Sometimes they're beige, sometimes they're almost white, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're orange, like this one.
And they're saprobic, right? They grow on decayed wood or wood.
Yeah, they're saprobes, on wood probably. Sometimes on the ground from buried wood. Looks like these are coming out of the ground.
This was a very, very decayed log that was approaching being soil. But
Yeah, okay, that sounds like
yeah,
what they like.
yeah.
Typical.
So yeah, there were several of them on this log. So they were, yeah, they were a secondary find after being um, having our eyes caught by the jack-o'-lanterns on the way to go look at those more closely. We stumbled over these. So
Old reports of these being poisonous are now thought to be due to confusion with jack-o'-lanterns. So they don't think these are poisonous, but if you eat enough of them, you probably are going to end up not feeling very well.
yeah.
The main thing that looks like chanterelles is the hymenium, the repeatedly forked gills. And I think sometimes they even have veins in between. I don't remember that specifically, but you can see how they're repeatedly forked.
Yeah. Yeah, these were too close to see in between. I should have cut one in half and showed the inside. But yeah, many forks, like 6 or 7 forkings before you got out to the edge here.
Yeah, I don't think the context is pure white like it would be with chanterelles. I'm not sure. I haven't seen these yet this year.
Okay. All right, so that was that one. Let's try this one and see if Dave knows what this is. You know, I put the name Simocybe centunculus on this, but that's supposed to have fine striations on the edge of the cap. So I'm not at all confident in this ID.
What?
Underside, because the caps look right. They're not always striate. Yeah, I think that's it. Or maybe a different Simocybe. I think that's what that is.
So what are you thinking? Simocybe?
Simocybe, SimocYbe.
Cool.
Centunculus, CENTUNCT. Oh, CUT. Oh wait, Centunculus, CUL.
I put it in the chat for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that's what that is. They should be
Thank
pretty
you.
small.
Yeah,
Like they usually aren't much more than an inch.
yeah, I think they were about 2 centimeters, the biggest one.
Yeah,
Just one up here.
it's the right color. The gills look right. If you look at the spores, they're small and bean shaped, and the print is kind of dark brown. I think this looks right. I think that must be Chylocystidea all over the gill edges. I don't remember looking for Chylocystidea with these, but I haven't seen them for well over a year, so I just forget.
So so that's the white, the roughness along the gill edge. What's the blackness? Is that spores? Is that
Probably spores.
okay?
Hard to say. Maybe not. I don't know. The spores are not that dark on these.
Yeah.
They're pretty dark, but they're not black.
I think that black is just debris.
Debris sounds good.
Yeah, you can see it on the cap margin as well. On the
Right.
top.
Similar pieces, but yeah, the gills themselves, shy of that, are not an even color. They seem to be. I was describing them as mottled to Hunter.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you said that, Lila, because that was like the main feature that really stuck out to us was this mottled look on the gills, and we did not think it was dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. This black stuff is probably dirt, like you guys are saying, but I think some of this other shading is just a normal part of the gill face there.
It looks like mottled gills with dirt or something on top of it.
Yeah.
But those edges are something else. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't looked at this under the microscope, but I did save it to study. And this is from a different angle. So it looks quite dark from this angle. So I think we found those in maybe two different spots. But all right, so the striations are not a must-have then. Okay.
And that mottled look looks to be characteristic from other postings on INAT.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they had a mottled gill face. So good. All right, so there's that one. We'll take a look at this one. So this was an Leccinum. I think we saw a couple of Leccinums at least this one. Yeah, I think there was another one, or Hemi-Leccinum anyway. So I think this is snelli.
Did you slice it?
I did.
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
So it's definitely taller than it is wide, and has the scabers. Here you can see these kind of gray scabers. Straight down on the cap. The cap is kind of tufted. Fibrils. So then I cut it, and this is what it looked like right away when I cut it open. This is, several hours probably after picking it.
No staining.
Not yet. Hang on. So
that was that was several hours. That was after the staining then.
No, I hadn't. I picked it, but I didn't get around to slicing it until.
Oh, I see. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
didn't know
freshly
what you meant there.
sliced. So
And was there a little bluing on that fresh slice?
look at that again. Not
Like-
maybe right
Like on
here.
the
Something.
like on the stipe. Yeah. On the stipe, grayish. Maybe.
Just
I haven't seen any bluing in this one. This is the
There
typical.
should, if it's snelli, there should be some rather distinctive bluing toward the bottom of the stipe.
Yeah.
And then red in the middle, up near the juncture of the cap.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there's a little
That's
bit. Yeah, I
blue.
see it now. Okay.
Yeah, this was probably, I don't know, 5-10 minutes maybe later.
Okay. Yeah, it takes snelli doesn't stain real fast.
Yeah, this
Oh
is,
yes, it does. Oh yes, it does.
So you think so? Sometimes I have to wait for a while before
Absolutely, it stains. It depends on the number of factors, including how much moisture there's in the fruiting body. But typically,
okay.
and Snellia should stain concomitantly both red and blue. This could be in the Snellia group. There's a very common species that characterized by a fairly light cap with much darker fibrils that are radially arranged. And the ITS2 sequences of Snellii and this particular taxon I'm talking about are essentially identical. But when you look at the ITS1 sequences, they're very, very different. And it has nothing to do with the overall Leccinum structure. They are just very, very different. So that one doesn't always stain red. In my experience, it rarely stains red, but occasionally it does. But they're clearly related. The cap texture in this specimen is just strange. As a matter of fact, a lot of photographs that Lila takes with her phone look kind of enhanced. They just look very strange overall. I think the AI in the phone just does something to the pictures. Can we see the cap again? It's just a very unusual presentation of the cap. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Oxynum that looks exactly like this.
Yeah, that's really dark, scaly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a white background with these dark scales. You know, I actually thought it was something else.
What do you think it is something else?
Well, I mean, we know it's Oxynum, but if you showed me the cap, I wouldn't tell you right away it's Oxynum.
It's Leccinum section scabra. So
What's
there
in
should have
scabra?
been birch nearby.
It's probably a birch, or who knows? Maybe there was some kind of a poplar nearby. You have to look at the habitat.
There were poplars. I don't recall seeing a lot of birch. Do you, Hunter?
Sometimes it just takes one tree. And
Yeah, even a small one.
You said you were in the ravine?
No, we were in the Great Swamp, in Morristown.
Oh.
Near Morristown, near where Lila lives. No.
So this was growing in a
I don't
swamp?
recall any birch, but there might have been one here and there. It was not really swampy though. You know, it was mostly beach forest, right, Lila?
Yeah, I think this one was more in the beach area, but there was a lot of chestnut oaks, hickories, red oaks.
Well, if this is section scabra, there's got to be a birch tree around, and all it takes is a single birch tree. And I've been in this situation before at Washington Crossing that I found Leccinum species New Jersey 02, which is the relative of snelli that I refer to. And I was looking around like, where's the birch? Where's the birch? Because there's nothing but beech there. And finally, I saw the birch tree. It was Betula lenta. And the bark looks kind of similar to beech, gray.
Okay.
So if it's just beech and oak, then it's not section scabra. Maybe it's something else.
What could it possibly be then? I mean, because I don't think this is albellum.
There is no. I'm not saying this is albellum. Albellum doesn't stay in blue.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, it couldn't be. But also the dark scabers look kind
and it's also not even a member of section scabra. It's not. It's like Leccinellum in the sense, in a broad sense.
Yeah, it's off on its own branch.
Well, I suggest this collection, if it's still around, should be saved, and we should look into getting it sequenced.
Yeah, but I've had that same experience with where's the birch, because it's like where's Waldo or something,
Well,
you look
like
and
I
look
said,
and look and finally find a small birch somewhere.
In Europe, there's a species called Leccinum duriusculum, and it's associated with poplars, but it looks more like section scabra, except that it sits in its own small section, or if I get the section name. But we could have something like that in the United States, something which is not associated with birch, but looks like section scabra, but is growing with poplars.
Well, that's good to know about that. That sounds.
By poplars, I mean
aspens.
Aspen, yes. The true poplars.
Yeah, not tulip poplar, which is not even a poplar.
Exactly. So, I mean, was the cap brown? Because, here I basically get a hint of a whitish background with gray scabers on the, not scabers, but scales or fibrils on the top of the cap.
Yeah, it was light colored, but
it had a really mottled look.
Yeah, very mottled. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I have saved it, and yep. Yeah, I was very good about bringing everything home. I said to Hunter, Igor's gonna tell me I should have saved it, so I'm just bringing it home.
Yeah, well, this one, yes, because we've been finding some really confusing boletes lately that actually turned out to be known species, and it just seems like we're in a weird year where things kind of misrepresent themselves in a way, and we have to do this DNA work to make proper assignments, because sometimes you suspect there's something that you haven't seen before, must be a new species, but actually it's not.
Yeah.
So that larger gray brown piece, I mean, could that have
Debris.
been?
I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
debris.
Okay.
Yeah, that's debris. Yeah,
Oh, good. Good.
it's not part of the mushroom.
Good. 'Cause
Now,
that
is there like a
that
photograph?
would,
Is there a photograph of the cross section? After a while, because it is possible that some of the reddish or brownish oxidation tones can develop themselves in a more slow fashion than the bluing.
Yeah, in my experience, sometimes the things that are either snelli or something that mimics snelli, sometimes the staining is slow.
But the cap of snelli doesn't look like this. The cap of snelli is usually
No,
darker brown with some lighter, almost whitish,
right,
areas.
right. Yeah, this doesn't look like
Mottled.
snelli.
No, no.
No,
It doesn't look like anything I've seen in section scabra.
I don't think I've seen this. Maybe it's something that came with the tree, an import.
So
Well,
yeah, I
it would
didn't.
be useful to know, the habitat. You have the GPS coordinates, so you can probably find this location.
Yeah, I can go back
Yeah.
to the location if I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like I just looked at my phone. I took it at 11:54 last night, which was really late for me.
right. And it wasn't, I mean, it was a few hours before you cut it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I hung out and because I was working my way through stuff. So this was in our second walk batch, so I didn't get to it until late. And then I'm like, oh crap, I need to cut this thing. So I cut it at 11:45, the first photo, and then this last one is at 11:54, so 9 minutes.
Yeah, usually, I mean, if you do this within one day, it doesn't really matter. But you can see kind of the flesh is not exactly moist. It's very pithy and fibrous. Um, Usually, a good indicator of whether things are going to blue or not is the presence of yellowish areas at the base of stipe. That's where the bluing actually occurs first before it appears anywhere else. And I could see in the original photograph right after sectioning that there was an area of yellowishness, so to speak, on the bottom of the stipe.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, not much in the way of red though up here at the top.
mm-mm.
No,
And
there's
this is
none,
what,
and usually it's pretty evident, right?
yeah,
Along the
that
tree.
this is what species New Jersey O2 usually does.
Ah,
It just blues in the lower portion of the stipe, but there's just nothing else that's showing up. Occasionally, you can see maybe a hint of a brown discoloration in the upper stipe and at the juncture of the stipe with the cap, but that's fairly rare. Only once I saw fresh collection that showed some reddening in those areas. And coupled with the DNA information that basically told me that, yeah, must be related, but ITS2 in Leccinum was very conserved. So that's that statement is not necessarily doesn't reflect the true status of these species. Well, very very cool. I think this is a cool collection.
All right.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah. Yeah, it was nice. It's nice to find.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing birch leaves here on the ground.
Yeah. How about with ironwood? I know that's in the birch family. Would that be sufficient, do you think?
Well, there's a bunch of Leccinum, so to speak, that grow with Caprinus or whatever that genus of these small shrubby-like trees. Like you said, maybe this is, I don't know. Yeah, but they're not part of section scabra, even though they grow with trees that are in the same, family that where betulum is.
Okay. All
I have
right.
to look
Well,
this up.
maybe later
Like,
in the week I'll go back over to this area and scope the trees. There's
yeah, one
probably
good representative of that clade is Leccinum luteum, which was described by Smith, and we found it here in New Jersey at Smithville, actually. A collection from 2 years ago got sequenced, and it matched the holotype sequence partially because it's a fragment. It's a sequence fragment from the type, that is.
What else did you find, Lila?
All right, yeah, let's see. Here's something I have no idea what it is. Some little white thing. I'm hoping Dave or somebody knows. The note here is the root was longer than the stipe on this thing. It was crazy how long it was. So that's the underside of the cap. Did not get a picture of it in situ.
When you say the root, you mean like a taproot, like Oudemansiella?
So this is where it went into the ground, and then all of this was buried.
I'll take something
and kind of leaf
so
stuff.
That's probably.
Oudemansiella.
Go on.
No, Oudemansiella, Minipellus, whatever it is.
Yeah, get some spores because you might have Oudemansiella megalospora here.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one that has a small cap.
Yeah, usually Oudemansiella is really easy to ID just looking at the cap surface, and I haven't seen a photograph of the cap surface here yet.
Yeah, I don't think I got one of
right.
that.
Yeah.
It was just plain white. I think I can't remember.
I think
Hunter,
that's
you took a
what
picture of it.
megalospora looks like.
Yeah.
Just sort of plain white.
I thought your first picture showed the cap. No?
No, this is the first picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some spores, and if you can't get any spores, hack off a little piece of gill and smash mount it, because these Oudemansiella have really big hymenial cystidia that are easy to find. So, if you see a few of those, you'll at least know the genus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Hunter.
Well, I was just going to ask a few things. First of all, what does it have microscopy wise, Dave?
Hymenial cystidia. I'm not sure if they're chylocystidia or pleurocystidia or both. So, hymenial cystidia simply means cystidia on the gills, on the hymenium. Or if it's a bolete, it would be gills on the tubes, tube walls. So, with Oudemansiella, I think all of the rooting Oudemansiella have a lot of hymenial cystidia that are pretty large and distinctive looking.
So
and if it's megalospora, there's going to be some spores that are near or even exceeding 20 microns in length.
And this starts tiny, but actually
it's small.
Oh, okay.
It's the overall length of it is large because it goes so deeply like this, because it's a rooter.
How big might it get? Like
deeper than that they can be, I guess. But
yeah, I think I broke it even up here.
Yeah, you may have broken some of it off. I would, I think that's what this is really.
Okay.
I mean, let me look. Let me get a link, because this one's on Mushroom Expert, I'm pretty sure. Let me get a link and post it.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't know there were any small Oudemansiellas.
Yeah, Mushroom Expert's going to call it Hymenopellus. There seems to be a lack of agreement on whether these rooters belong to a genus that's sectioned off of Oudemansiella, which would be Hymenopellus, which used to be Zerula. I don't know why that change was made. But Elsa Valenga, who did the sequencing to support putting these things in Oudemansiella, she thinks they belong in Oudemansiella. So I'm going to find Hymenopellus megalospora, and I'll put the link in, and it is a small white thing.
And the genus.
Let me just review the Hymenial cystidia. Does it have those?
The genus is out in force right now for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we found them in the Forant Saturday here in Pennsylvania, and I think there were some at Stokes also. Yeah, there's a lot of those out right now.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the easiest ones to ID. Those other Furfuraceae type deals are a nightmare to ID.
Well, some of them stain brown. Some of them have. There's one that has like a yellow cap. There's one that has spores that are shaped like lemons, Limenospora. Let me. I'm going to put the link into the chat.
This was about the last find of the day. This one, hunter spotted off the trail in a beach area that was dying pretty much.
Well, welcome back, Ryan. Robin Carroll is
It's quite beautiful. She probably has a picture of it in situ since she dug it up. I didn't get one of those, but.
Oh, is this my INAT observation? The only one I got up so far?
Oh, sorry. No, this is my own observation.
Oh, okay. Oh no, that's okay. I actually tried to get some stuff up and started with this, but no good. I'm glad you're sharing it.
Okay. There you are digging it up. So that's what it looked like in situ.
Did you smell it?
The designer from Toronto is here.
Yeah, I don't recall it having really any odor.
I have some regrets, Ray. Am I right?
Which I was kind of surprised.
Look, HMS 10-4, which I know like the back of my hand, and I couldn't get it out of my dog.
Is it a double ring? It looks like it might be. 2 layers to the ring.
There's this weird stuff underneath here. I don't know what's going on.
I see.
But clinging like that. That's really neat.
Oh yeah,
that
I
is
see
typical
that.
for the species. I can attest to that.
Say that again.
I know where this is going.
Igor knows where it's going. Good. That's what I hoped. I hoped you would. So.
Do you have a better cap shot, like straight on, to see the ornamentation?
I don't know. We'll see what I've got here.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of stuff going on down here. I don't know if there's 2 layers here or not. Kind of hard to sort it all out, but there's a lot going on down there. I just was taken by the way the ring was, so that seems to be what I took photos of. I don't think I have a very good cap shot.
Igor, you said you think you know what this is?
Yeah, I think it's either subcokeri or cokeri.
Well, that's why I asked what it smelled like.
Yeah,
look at that root. The stipe is really deeply rooted.
No, this is just apparently. Well, I mean, it can be in the pine barrens. It can be dog-legged and very deep as well, kind of a carrot-like, with all these cones at the top, recurving scales, as they're called properly.
These are recurring.
There'll be several layers. It'll be like a layer after a layer after a layer of these, in a pine cone style, of these recurving scales.
Yeah, I said subcokeri when she was digging it up, brought it out, but I wasn't sure if it was that or cokeri or something else. But I don't recall.
Cokeri is a southern species, and I forget exactly where its range peters out, but it's probably maybe around Pennsylvania somewhere, maybe even to the south of that. Again,
right around the border with Maryland, I believe.
Yeah, the Mason-Dixon line again comes to mind again.
Yeah, I think that subcokeri and cokeri have ranges that intersect very slightly around.
Yeah, they do overlap.
Line.
But that cokeri usually smells bad.
Yeah, subcokeri smells nice. It smells like cedar wood, and it usually you can detect that if you smell it.
Yeah,
when fresh, and the ring kind of looks double, but not quite certain. It has a complex structure, And these, as I call them, struts, I see the same effect in Amanita abrupta, but this is clearly not abrupta.
Not
But
abrupta, yeah.
abrupta has those strings as well under the ring.
Okay.
Lila,
Basically, the ring expands and it just drags the skin of the stipe out like this. Go ahead, Hunter.
Something smelled like cedar that we found.
Oh, was it this one then?
Perhaps. I remember you said like it smells like cedar or something. And I was like, oh yeah, it does. But
maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe it was this one. All
Well,
right.
that would make this subcokeri then. That's why I asked to begin with.
Yeah. I didn't
I
remember
thought
that.
it might be.
We found subcokeri at Stokes, the day before.
Yeah, and it smelled like cedar.
All right. All right, good. I'll stop. I'll look at my notes. Maybe I did write it down that it had some scent. All right. Subcokeri, I'll put on it for now. Thank you.
Yeah, the telltale signs of subcokeri is the pleasant odor as well as the browning of the recurving scales on the stipital bulb. Cokeri doesn't do that.
Browning?
Cokeri is all white. No
Yeah,
stain.
but that browning, is it immediate or does it need, does that develop as it matures?
Typically, you find a mushroom with the browning, in my experience.
Okay.
Hard to say in this one with all the dirt. So, all right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lila. So we've had a number of people join us, and I'm just checking to see if there's anyone who joined us recently who has things to share. I have Dave and Christopher on my list so far.
I'm working on it, not quite ready yet.
Okay, I'll add you to the list, Emily.
Yeah, I should wait till after Jeopardy is over. We don't want to risk having the theme song get recorded onto YouTube because then we'll violate some sort of copyright. And
Indeed,
they'll take the video down.
I just had one picture.
Okay, Christopher, you want to go next?
Yeah. So at the cultivation curiosity meeting, I was talking about.
We can see your screen.
So this is the exact same spot that I took that whole time lapse of a year or so ago. The same curtisii grows out of the roots in this rock embankment in the back of the shop where I work. And this was, I want to say it started as like almost 7 fruiting bodies, but this is what happens when they all just mush and merge together. And that thing is easily 24 or maybe a few more inches across long ways.
That's pretty cool. Look how it's dumping spores on the rocks on the upper side.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. And this is actually like washed off a bit because I looked at it a few days prior and the whole top was brown. The ground all around the bottom was pretty brown. So this is almost like a fresh layer.
Cool. That is an impressive fruiting.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't even, I think I had, yeah, this is the underneath. You can't even see where they come out of the ground hardly anymore because it overhangs so far. But yeah, just a weird thing that those Ganodermas do. They'll just make themselves as one.
So there must be buried wood here.
It's the roots. There's a when the bulldozers came and redid the back area with the shop got an addition on it. So the bulldozers, when they dug it out, they hit a bunch of roots, and then that thing started fruiting, and every year like clockwork, this thing comes up now.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Emily, are you ready to go?
No, I mean, I haven't uploaded any of my photos yet from this weekend. I'm doing that now.
Okay. Brendan, do you have anything to share? Or Paul?
I can throw one in the chat if you want to share it from your screen.
Sure. I see it. And give me a second.
Been out a few times recently. I've been just finding a bunch of stuff that we all have seen before. So nothing too interesting to share. But I could use some help on this Lactarius. It's very small. Less than a quarter. The cap was less than a quarter wide. Found next to a bog in kind of like a damp area. Mixed woods. There were like 5 or 10 of them, mostly grown by themselves. And the milk was really like, I wouldn't have guessed Lactarius when I found this, but yeah, you can, if you want to zoom in on that, just to kind of blow it up. Yeah, there's the milk. And it really didn't want to throw milk at all. In fact, when I cut it, it didn't produce any milk. It only kind of when you disturb the gills, that's where it would kind of produce the latex there.
Interesting.
Did you smell it, Brandon?
Yeah, it didn't smell bad. I would say it had a pleasant, almost a sweet smell to it. Yeah.
Do you guys
forest floor? Say it again.
Camphoratus. Lactarius camphoratus.
No, it's not that. That one's darker, has closer gills.
Okay. Little though, like this or no?
Yeah, they're usually small, but they have darker gills. The gills are closer, and the cap is usually darker colored.
Does the milk come easily from those, or is it similar to this?
Fairly, yeah. It could be either way. It could be not much milk at all, and sometimes you'll see milk right after you cut through the gills a little bit. But these aren't camphoritis. They're too pale, and the gills are fairly widely separated. Not as widely separated as Hygrophoropsis, though, so that makes this one kind of interesting.
Yeah, and the forking was interesting too. On the gills, they fork really tight up against the stipe, and then there's a lot of free gills and things like that. But really, the only forking is like right up against the stipe there. Yeah.
Did you taste it?
I did not. I still have it, but
Correct. Evolution before wonder, please.
I was hoping to find, a name to see if I need to find out if it's spicy or not. Yeah, I mean, I looked at
I think I might have the milk mushroom book right. Oh, let me see. I think I have it right on that couch here with me. Oh, here it is. Yeah, let me leaf through it. It's got a pretty distinctive look to it.
It does. I mean, before I saw the milk, I really thought it was a Lactarius. It has a very Lactarius, not Lactarius, Laccaria. Sorry, it has kind of a Laccaria look to it, with the gills not very tight and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think that we could figure this out just from the photo.
Yeah, I so rarely even dive into Lactarius trying to figure out what they are.
Yeah.
But I thought, this one is distinctive enough. And I found it yesterday. I haven't really done any work. I had it laid out for on a slide.
Yeah, you didn't notice any staining from the latex, did you?
No. In fact, the latex, while it was white very clearly, it didn't. It disappeared very quickly as well and left no stain. You know what I mean? Like, I would see it, and I would even struggle to get a photo of it before it disappeared. And one other thing of note, I wouldn't have even thought to check for latex if, when handling it, the latex presented itself right up against the stipe. Yeah. And that was kind of the only indication. Oh, maybe this is Lactarius, a milk cap, and then you fiddle with it and work some of the milk out. But we can move on. I'll work on it and hopefully get a name to it. It's so small. There can't be that many small ones, right? I don't see that many small ones because I looked at Camphratus first. I was like, no, it's not that.
What kind of trees were in you said it was like a bog or something?
Yeah, it was right next to a bog. Kind of on the other side of a little ridge where the walkway is. It's not quite swampy over there. It's obvious that sometimes it's underwater where we haven't had rain in so long. And in fact, where I found this is normally probably underwater in times of normal rain. But yeah, tree-wise, full-on mixed woods. It's in Black Run Preserve, so maple, pitch pine, holly, probably sweet gum, black gum.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me share.
Sure. And let me stop sharing. So let's see. I'm checking with Paul and Brandon and Sue. Jeopardy is almost over, but not quite.
Did you look into Lactarius subdulcis, Brandon?
Say it again. Old Deuces with an O? No, I didn't.
Subdulcis.
Subdulcis. No, I did not, but that's a name. Good.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's a smaller one. Found this time of year at the base of beech trees.
Yeah, I think that might be the one absent tree from this area.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll look into that.
Find so many little Lactarius that look really very similar to that have a pleasant smell. I'm like, is this Camphoratus? Does it smell like camphor? I can't tell. And then, yeah, I'd love to just call it a Laccaria, and rarely can I get milk, but I know it's not a Laccaria, and it looks so similar to that. But yeah, it would be nice if we had Lactarius talk or something, Lactofluus and Lactarius.
Yeah, we should see
Some
if John
education on that. It would be good.
we should see if John would be willing to give us a little bit education this winter when we have, not member fines.
Oh,
You're breaking up on us, Hunter.
Yeah, you sound like you're in the Matrix there, Hunter.
right. You're talking about the John, the older guy. What's his name again? Sorry. Which John, though?
Sorry, you were breaking up pretty bad there.
She was asking
John,
which John.
yeah, John Burkhardt, one of our.
Oh, okay. That'd be great. Yeah. Wouldn't
He
that be
knows.
great?
He knows
Yeah.
Lactarius and Russella.
Fantastic.
So Dave, has the theme song played?
No, not yet. They're just going through the final Jeopardy, and they're going to play the theme song in a minute.
Okay.
I'm still looking through these Lactarius, actually.
All right. So I have a question, Igor. Are there things that you would like people to be out on the lookout for right now?
It's so dry. It's difficult to imagine that they're going to have anything of interest. To me personally, that is going to be coming up. It's not a good year for Amanitas, even when rain was plentiful. It was a good year for boletes, but it seems like they had their better times already in July, and August is just dry. It's the end of summer. If we don't get any rain anytime soon, I think it's going to be over. I'm actually surprised that Leccinum, grew in the woods that were mostly dry. Maybe because the beech trees are dying, but at the same time, like I said, I doubt that this is a beech associate.
Okay. So Brendan just put something in the chat, which I'll share.
Here we go. One of the harbingers of autumn.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? Crenulata?
Yep.
Yeah. It's actually nice to see, even though, it's been so dry. I don't know if I even saw this thing last year.
You know what? I find this in late spring, summer, and I didn't realize I had been finding it, the species, until I had some sequenced. And it's the ones that grow in fall that look like this.
Oh.
That are sort of champagne colored, muted, sort of beigey, yellowish cap. The ones I find in the summer are much more vibrant yellow on the cap, like a more of a lemon yellow. And I would not have guessed that they were a crenulata until I had 2 or 3 times I had them sequenced from a few different places around here. But this looks like classic crenulata here, the fall one.
Yeah, I didn't make a great observation. Like I said, I think I've been finding things that we've seen before, or not super interesting. So not the best observations, but you can make out the cap striations on the margin. The bulb is a little weird on this one, I thought, for crenulata.
Yeah, it's a little narrow.
Yeah,
Right.
these don't usually have striations. If they do, they're very short.
Yeah, when I find them, they have striations, but they're short.
Yep, that
Oh,
fits.
so the bulb's a little wider toward the bottom. It doesn't have the dust on it.
It does.
Oh, it
You just
does.
have,
Yes, it does.
yeah.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Little ring of it there.
No, that's not
Yeah.
the dust. That's dirt. We're talking about the champagne vulva on the top of the
Yeah.
bulb. No,
Yeah,
below
on the
that.
shoulder.
No,
Yeah, it does have it.
below,
It's faint.
below that. There you go.
Oh,
That's the one. That's
Yeah,
the
right
plant.
there.
Yeah.
That little ring of yellowish.
Deposit, yeah, like a
Yeah.
ring-like deposit of the champagne-colored vulva. Same material that you see on the cap.
cool. That UV material, is it a little gray on this species? That's what I saw on this particular mushroom. That
No, it's
the
beige. It's supposed to
Usually
be
not.
beige.
Hmm.
It might change color because of dehydration, maybe, but typically it presents itself as a kind of a felted, beige, sandy colored, light,
yeah,
darker, creamy deposit. Yeah,
champagne color.
champagne. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yeah,
glad I still know this one. Even I don't think I saw this last year at all, and I suspect that's probably a conditions thing. Last year was so bad.
Yeah, we had a discussion with Dave a few years ago. The DNA, there are a few sequences. At that time, there were a few sequences of crenulata, and links to observations from which sequences were extracted led us to a wide sort of morphological profile for the species. But our understanding of crenulata, I think, is going, its source is Rod Tullis, his website, and maybe some of the older field guides. But I don't think the type has been sequenced. And, there are a few questions that remain because of that dichotomy between the DNA sequences, which are essentially the same, and then a somewhat variable presentation of crenulata reported by some people, including Dave. He alluded to the summer material that's more vibrant yellow in color, not this brownish type cap that you see here, which is the correct color for it, at least in the fall. And this is section of Amanita, mind you. This is not section Valide.
Right. And one more thing, when we're talking about the fall, it's August. I found this on August 25th, I think. It's been unseasonably cool, I would say. So you think we're going into fall now, kind of early?
Well, I think it's going to be an early fall, but then I checked the forecast for September, in AccuWeather, and they are going to have, I wouldn't say a heat wave, but a solid week with temperatures in the middle upper 80s here in my neighborhood in South Jersey. So, but from what we saw at Stokes, there's an indication that it might be an early fall. A lot of trees already have yellow leaves, and not because of the drought. They're just yellowing naturally, as if we're like, already in September.
Right. Yeah. That tracks with kind of how I felt about this entire mushroom season. I feel like summer started early. Pine barrens things in late July were popping out when they should be popping out, now. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, when I see Cortinarius and the Crenulata, I say, you don't even have to look at the calendar. It has to be late August or September.
Found one of the things I found today was iodes or iodioides quaternarius, and yeah, I feel the same way. That's a fall thing.
It could be summer thing. We also found this in summertime. But most Cortinarius, grow or they begin fruiting at the end of summer and early fall, not in the middle of summer. At the Helen Mickness foray in South PA, we only found, I think, one Cortinarius, and that was basically at the beginning of this month. So this is still summertime.
Yeah, there's a few species that come out really early, like even the end of May or June. Cortinarius distans, and there's a couple of things that are, I think it's called section hinuli. That some things that look like distans that come out early.
Yeah,
But other
distance
than
comes
that,
out in
yeah,
summer.
the summer you don't see a lot of quartz in the summer until the
You see
late summer.
distance and you see corrugatus.
Oh, corrugatus, that's out all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
those more colorful cortinariuses that are, that we certainly can say, oh, it's a quart.
yeah,
they're purple. I mean, they come out much later in the season.
yeah. Armillatus can have a long season also.
Yeah, but we start finding that in September, especially like if we are at Stokes.
Oh,
We
okay.
see it in September, and Bovarius comes out about the same time in September. Another easy to ID species.
Yeah, that's when you can ID by sight.
Yeah, by sight.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Emily.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. And bear with me tonight. I have a splitting headache, so like my brain function is not up to par tonight.
You sound just fine.
So I just wanted to share some things that I found this weekend at Stokes. We'll start with the hardest one because, yeah. So I took this home and I tried to poke around with a little bit. My understanding is that if it were Fomes fomentarius, it would stain red with KOH, but instead it stained immediately dark black. So I don't know. I noticed it has a little bit of a red margin. Not sure if that makes too much of a difference, if I'm just grasping at straws here. Anyone know anything about these things?
I would say it looks like Fomes fomentarius to me.
Yeah. I'm going to check a few sources on the KOH staining thing.
Yeah, maybe it just stained. Sometimes when I use KOH and it has that red reaction, it's like it flashes black. And even can stain so deeply that it looks black. Just trying to explain why it would have a black reaction to KOH.
I mean, I had read, there was one thing that had said, it'll turn red at first and then turn black, but there really was no red. It was just jet black from the second I touched it. So I don't know, maybe just this particular one doesn't. Or maybe that's not a good indicator.
Yeah, I mean, I do like looking at KOH, chemical reactions. But yeah, I do think sometimes they're not entirely, on point with the description. For example, I found things that are supposed to flash like green or blue that I know what the thing is, and it doesn't really do that.
Yeah.
It just kind of goes black. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's look at the next.
This is growing beech, and that species is associated as a parasite with beech and birch. Sorry, it grows in birch, but beeches too. And I think the idea is perfect.
Okay.
All right. So
wasn't this mushroom found in that ancient human? I forget the name.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
What is it?
Funny, you were as soon as you said that, I was looking at the Wikipedia and it listed it as Iceman fungus.
Iceman, yeah. The rolling Iceman, yes.
Etsy.
For
Etsy,
building
thank you.
fires, or is it for building fires, or that
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
Tinder fungus, false tinder fungus, Iceman fungus. Yeah, all of these things.
Yeah, because I think that the true tinder fungus is Fomes petulina, right?
Yeah, I think so. I stumbled across that when I was searching through things.
Okay. So let's look at this guy here.
I just thought this guy was so pretty. Actually, to be fair, I didn't find it. Mike found it, but I took all the pictures.
It's
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, look at this shot.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a nice shot.
And underneath the spikes, it was a little bit tacky. Now, other than that, is there anything that would really set it apart from the other one?
I think micro. What did you call this one? Squarasoides?
Squarasoides, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the spores are different sizes. I'm pretty sure, and I think that the one species, after, well, I guess you'd have to wait till after the cap expanded and the partial veil broke. But I think the one, oh wait, I might be thinking of something else.
No, I think you're right. I did remember reading something about that, about the brownish color.
The greenish brownish gills, or
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. Let me look on. Oh, and by the way, I've been looking at sources for foamies, and I don't see anything on KOH reactions on the flesh. I haven't seen anything yet. I'm looking in Bisset, Fomes excavatus, which is probably the same thing.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't see anything here about a KOH reaction. But anyway, yeah, I think this is the one that they call the sharp scaly Pholiota, squarasoides.
Right. It's those.
Are more pyramidal and sharper.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that is unique to Squarasoides within Pholiota.
Yeah, I think the cap ground color is a little browner also in Squarosa. I think, but I know when I'm confused by these, I try to find a mature one and look at spores to get spore dimensions, because I'm pretty sure there's a difference in the size of the spores.
Yeah, yes, all of that is true. I think even with Squarosa, those pyramidal things get matted down much more easily, and they don't stand as erect. I think.
I think this photo is a great ID photo. You caught the top of the cap, a side view, and a split with the gills. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Got the little slug in there too.
Yeah, I saw that right next to the dime for scale.
I'm trying to work on photos. It's so hard when you're at a foray and you take a picture or something and you go through your photos later and you're like, what? Why didn't I take photos of the important parts?
Right.
Yeah, you got everything here. Those are so pretty in at the foray too.
Unfortunately, you're breaking up, Hunter. So if you post post something in the chat, I'd be glad to read it.
All right, and I think I had one more that I sent you.
Yeah, coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking at Squarosa, Squarasoides. Squarosa has significantly larger spores. Squarasoides has pretty small spores, only like up to 6 microns or something like that. And yeah, Squarosa does have gills that become greenish brown, but your specimens here are pretty young, so that would not be a telling trait for years. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
So let's look at this guy.
I think this is the smallest one that we found like this weekend, because a bunch of other people had found it too, but this one was
nice little black foot.
Yeah.
There was some really big ones that somebody, I think Benji, that guy Benji, he's like a relatively new member.
Mm-hmm.
He had some that were really large, like, caps that were 3 to 4 inches wide.
Yeah, I was questioning whether they really were the same species when they were that different, but
yeah, so I wonder if those might be various, those big ones, because they say that there's 2 species, but I have not ever really found evidence, of my own. I always, whenever I do manage to get spores to fall out of one of these things, which you sort of have to be lucky, they fall into this leptocephalus range. And I mean, that's what I would call this, leptocephalus. Leptocephalus. I'm not sure what's the best way to say it.
oh, so Sue just posted. The others were ID'd as something else.
Oh, they were. Were they ID'd as various?
Picipes badius.
Yes, I identified it as the badius.
Maybe. I saw the ones Benji had. These are it right here. Maybe. Well, they might be badius.
Yeah, they feel
like
completely different than the variuses. These are big and floppy. And as Nina confirmed for me, she also considered the same different because these are like feels like piece of leather.
Okay, so you think these are badius because they don't really look like what I usually think of as badius, but maybe they are.
Yeah, usually when I find the badius, I feel the whole log with them, and a lot of them are much darker on the top. They'll become darker brown.
Yeah, and light in the middle, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes almost white in the middle.
Isn't there a third one?
Various.
Various. Okay. Cerioporus.
That's what I thought these might be.
So is various typically a little larger than the one that I found?
I think so. I think that's one of the things that's supposed to be true about it. Well, let's see. I have the polypore book open right here. Let's find Cerioporus.
Yeah, I think the ones that you showed were certainly leptocephalus, right? That's the name.
So I would say.
Yeah, small and firm. All very firm, all parts of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because by this time of the year, they're dried out and hard because they come out fairly early and then they hang around forever.
Yeah, I think there was. I'm looking at pictures of various here online, and I think we did have some various on the table. Need to find a description of them. But this, yeah, I would agree with the leptocephalus on this one. There's been a lot of it around.
Yeah, there's the difference between the two is quite striking.
Mm-hmm.
Except that the polypore book really believes that various and the leptocephalus are the same.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, maybe that was Picipes badius. I didn't think it was when I saw it. It just really doesn't look like it, but maybe it is. Oh, you know what though? I'm seeing here. There's in the polypore book. There's this thing Picipes lowii. Where does that thing grow? Let me look. From Michigan to and North Carolina, distribution limits yet to be determined. Rare. Hmm.
So Dave.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, this is from Stokes. There were two of these. The photo only shows one. The other one was really beat up. Neither one of them was in great condition, but it's a pretty good specimen because there's one trait that's pretty evident, and it's the last photo that shows the one trait. And these are small to begin with, and they have very few gills. They're really, really widely spaced gills, and there's not that many of them. So, Laccaria ohiensis, it grows in moss, but so do a lot of other Laccaria grow in moss. But this species is really small, and it has these really widely spaced gills.
Yeah, quite striking.
Yeah, so I spend most of my time looking on Sunday, just sort of hopping from rock to hummock to rock through sphagnum swampy areas. And that's where most of the mushrooms were, that I found. A lot of them were small, and this was one of them. So that was at Stokes.
So that's one of the ways to tell ohiensis.
Yeah, they're really widely spaced gills. There's another one called Pumala, but I just read about it a little while ago. It's a western Rocky Mountain species. It's pretty similar to this.
Yeah, and then one of the other small ones we get is
Striatula.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one has more gills.
Cool.
Yeah, it seems to be really a lot more common. Also, I find a lot of it.
Cool.
So, I'm pretty sure this is an Inosperma. There were some other things that I thought were Inosperma, but I think they're a different species than this one. So I don't have a species name for this. So how do I know this is not an Inosperma, for instance? Well, that's coming up. So this one has sort of the cap looks like it's not really splitting. It's a little bit more like finely scaly.
Yeah, like fibrillose almost. It looks like.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Cool.
So I really couldn't find any good match for this one. And the spores, not real large, only up to about 8.5 microns, but they are ellipsoid, slightly bean shaped from time to time. And so those are Chylocystidea, so they're in bunches. So I just smash mounted some partially dried gill. So of course, when you smash mount gill, it just breaks apart into pieces. Now, if to really tell Chylocystidea from Pleurocystidia, you're supposed to keep track of where you're looking on the gill edge or the gill face. But with the Inospiraceae, if there's Pleurocystidia, which are present on gill faces, you'll see them all over the mount, all over your smash mount. With Chylocystidea, you're going to find them only in pretty like localized, so in one part of the mount, and that would be where the gill edge was. So the gill edge here, when I smash mounted, apparently it broke it into pieces. And this is one piece. And it's got a bunch of these balloon-like cystidia. And there's more of them on another little piece. And this is almost certainly, well, it's the gill edge. And you can see even in the photo of the gills, you can see that they are, the edges are, what is it, fimbriose? What's that word? If you get a close up here, you can see. See, look on the right, you can see they're sort of little jagged, crusty on the edges. That's the chylocystidia. No pleurocystidia found. So in other words, when I moved my mount around a little bit under the microscope and to other parts of the smash mount of the gill material, there were no cystidia found anywhere. And those look like chylocystidia are supposed to look. It's kind of like just bunches of balloons, sort of, and they're on the gill edge. And so I don't know. I don't know what species this is, but I'm pretty sure it's an Inosperma. And my reasoning is from the Methanes key to the Inospermaceae, he says that Inosperma and Pseudosperma are very similar, but Inosperma tends to have spores that have widths that are under 6 microns wide. And the spores here for these, they're mostly about 5 to 5.5 microns wide. So they're not quite 6 microns wide. So he says that's generally a way you can tell Inosperma from Pseudosperma. Even before I went to his key and read that, I was leaning towards Inosperma for this one. So it's a pretty interesting one, though. I don't know what it is. I did not save this. It was only the one mushroom. So the next observation is another what I believe to be Inosperma, and I think that this one is. I think this is Inosperma maculatum. I looked on INAT. There's a lot of observations that people have been calling Inosperma maculatum, and some of them have been sequenced, and it looks like this. At least some of the observations look like this. So it's kind of a not quite rimose cap, so it's not really splitting radially, but it's like a little bit streaky radially, but it's like streaky fibrillose sort of radially.
Yeah, can we maybe zoom in on the cap on the bottom left?
Yeah, see if you can zoom in on that. Yeah, so it's not quite breaking apart, but it's like fibrillose radially. And the spore dimensions fit. So they're up to about 10 microns. The spores are up to about 10 microns long. Once again, the widths are under 6 microns for the most part. Ellipsoid to bean shaped. And once again, I found no pleurocystidia, but a lot of chylocystidia in bunches. And once again, you can see a lot of them are what they call clavate, so they're club shaped. So once again, it's kind of like bunches of balloons. But these are a little bit more variably shaped, I'd say. And that is a trait listed in Microquebec for the chylocystidia of Inosperma maculatum, is that the chylocystidia are variably shaped. So there were 3 collections that came in, and I think they're all the same thing. And I looked at spores from each of those 3 different collections that were brought in at Stokes. I looked at spores and smash mount on the gills, and the spores were from spore drops, so they're good mature spores. And the microscopy looked pretty much the same for all 3 of those observations, and the mushrooms looked pretty similar also. But that first one that I posted separately, that one I think is a different species. So this one I'm pretty sure is different. It looks different.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah, so I think they're all Inosperma.
Yeah, the difference between these two.
Yeah, the spores are different sizes as well. The Chylocystidia are somewhat similar. I think for this one here, which is really three collections shown here. One, that's the first one. If you keep moving ahead through the photos, you'll see the second and the third observations of what I believe are the same species, because there's a lot of photos in this observation. So once we get past, there's the second one. Looks the same as the first, right? That was a one fruit body somebody brought in. And the last one's coming up, and that's pretty much looks pretty similar. Maybe a little paler along the margin, but otherwise pretty similar.
I was going to ask what the base of the foot looked like. Is there a little notched bulb type?
Yeah, it's not quite notched. It's a little bit, I guess. Yeah, a little very, very slightly abrupt, I guess you would say.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't check that against that trait. Yeah, I should have checked that. But the spores all look the same for all three of these, and they're all like up to around 10 microns long, and the Chylocystidia look the same on all three of them.
And maybe did you put a name to this, or just
no? I think it might be maculatum.
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 Okay, cool.
I think I really don't have a lot of confidence in that proposal, but it looks like it might fit, and there's a lot of INAT observations of Inosperma maculatum, so that tells me that there's probably a few species, collections that got sequenced, and then people start seeing them and start thinking, well, it's that same species. But honestly, any of this Inospiraceae stuff is really hard to identify, with a few exceptions. There's a few exceptions, but not too many.
So here you can see that bulb, Brendan.
A little bit of a bulb, yep. On the other two as well. Yep.
Yeah, like a little cleft thing going on, or bulb. Yeah.
That one on the left is a little more abrupt.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to check again against that trait.
Okay.
So this is not from Stokes. This is this wasp nest slime mold.
That was a great photo. That first
one.
one.
Yeah, that's through the loop. That's why I shared this. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took that photo through the loop. Yeah,
very cool. There is another metatrichia. And as far as I know, the distinction between the two is one has more of an orange capillicium, and one has more of a red capillicium.
I'll have to check it. I'll have to check about that then.
Yeah, I'll look that up. I'll send you some information, because that capillicium is like scarlet red, right?
Yeah, it's pretty true. It's the color is pretty true to what we saw.
Cool.
All right.
So this was growing attached to some roots that I think are live roots of some gray birch trees on a lawn. It's the only trees that were there. And Neophagus suavissimus. It looks a little like a small oyster mushroom. And it grows on wood, like oyster mushrooms do. And the spores are not all that different from oyster mushrooms either. But the gills look a little bit different than an oyster mushroom. And this is definitely not a Crepidotus. But I think the next photo, we'll see the bigger one upturned. Maybe the photo after this one. Yeah, there we go. The gills, it's just a little bit different than an oyster mushroom. It's actually hard to explain exactly why. But I thought I recognized this as soon as I saw it. I thought that this was Neophavelus suavissimus. And the microscopy agrees. So the spores are like cylindric. Sort of like polypore spores, which is Neophavelus is basically a polypore genus. This species is in the polypore book. It's in the Beset polypore book. It's got gills, right? But it's in the Beset polypore book.
This is so cool. I'm so glad to know of this.
Yeah, it usually has a spicy odor. This one, the odor was really faint, but it was kind of sweet. And it probably had fruited a while back, and the weather's been pretty dry, so it probably fruited and just stayed there for a while.
What was it growing on?
Gray birch roots. That's the only tree that was there, and it grows on wood. The species grows on wood.
Yeah. Birch. Okay.
So it's in the polypore book. If you look in the Beset polypore book, Neophavelus suavissimus is in there.
I will.
Wow. I was going to ask for a pour shot. But
yeah.
I guess that's the pour shot, huh?
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what page in the Beset's book?
236.
Cool. Thank you.
So this species I learned at Stokes on Sunday because somebody told me what it was. That somebody had the polypore book there, and somebody found this species, and I didn't know what it was. And somebody else pointed this. I forget. Was it you, Lila? Somebody pointed out to me that this Loiomyces thing that I didn't know at all, and I had found this on my property, 5 days ago or 5 days before Stokes, something like that. And I had no idea what this thing was. And I set it out on a microscope slide, and I actually got a few spores. And viewed through my better microscope, I was able to see some details on the spores that are not evident in the spore photo. So the spore photo, you can see pretty much the shape. They're small, they're subglobose to almost globose. But what I did was I drew a picture of what I saw through the better scope. And this is exactly what Loiomyces fractipes spores are supposed to look like, because I looked it up last night. And so I found, by coming to Stokes, I learned a new species because somebody found it.
Fractipes.
Yep, Loiomyces fractipes. So this, and it even in the Beset book, it even says or it might have been on Michael Krepek, I forget, or it might have been on Mushroom Expert. Somewhere I read it usually grows on buried wood, buried roots, and that's what this was doing, growing from some buried roots. That's right, I did read about it in the Beset book, because it says there's a description they give that really kind of helps to nail it. Let me read this little description of the pores.
Angular 4 to 5.
Sharply delimited pores.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, so there's you can hardly see them. I took like 20 or 30 photos through the loop. This was as good as I could get. You can hardly see these pores. You see what I'm talking about? You can hardly see pores. So they are, I guess that's what they mean by sharply delimited. They
see,
you can hardly see them.
Dave, I think that actually means the separation running down the stalk. It's strong.
Oh, I
There's
see.
a
Oh, so
strong.
it ends.
Yeah, there's a
I see
strong.
what you're saying.
I think that's what that means.
Typically decurrent and sharply delimited. Yeah, you're right. That's probably what that means. Yeah, I'm misinterpreting that. So that doesn't really. That's not showing. This photo is not showing that. Then.
Oh no, I think it
It
is.
is right
Yeah,
here.
Oh, it is.
I think it is.
Oh, so okay. Oh, so it stopped. Oh, I see. It just stops. Some okay. Well, anyway, I'm just based on the spore morphology and the what the thing looks like generally. I'm pretty certain that's what it is, and it's a species I had not ever found before, or if I did, I didn't know what it was. So
Hard agree.
So I have no idea what this is. This little thing that somebody found on our foray here in Northeast PA last Saturday. It's got interesting looking gills that will come up in the photos. So it's got like these red, thick, decurrent gills. It reminds me a little bit maybe of like Cortinarius or something, but I have no idea what this is. So I took a lot of photos through the loop, and this was about as good as I could get. Also, the top of the stalk has these like little scales on it. And that the color is pretty true to form. It's had like this grayish, greenish, brownish cap. These red gills that went down the stalk and terminated in some like little red scales. No clue. No
Very
clue on this
interesting.
one.
Any habitat info?
No, I don't know. I'm not even sure who found it. Somebody probably handed it to me.
That's really cool. I mean, you have to think first thought is like a Dermocybe, right? Like the
yeah, that was my first thought, but
it doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
based on
quite.
based on the colors, I guess. But
Yeah, I have it. I preserved it.
Cool.
It's only a little fruit body. I really don't want to mess with it a whole lot, because I might want to send it for sequencing. If I had two of them, I would have, mounted some gill material or something. But it was just this one small thing. I didn't want to mess around with it too much. I just put it right in the dryer.
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, it's tiny, but it doesn't seem to be, super immature, right? It's at least
not really.
opening.
No, it looks like pretty much. This might get a little bit bigger, might spread out a little bit. It's a very strange little mushroom with strange red, thick, decurrent gills. It's.
You're gonna send it in for sequencing, or?
Yeah, hopefully this will. Eventually, I'm going to send a bunch of stuff in this winter. There's 3 of us from Pennsylvania who are merged under hopefully a single grant. Sam from Philadelphia, she's writing a proposal to try to get a grant for sequencing. So yeah, I'll put this one in because it's sufficiently interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. It's I have no other thought other than semi-sanguineous type thing, but it's not that, right?
No, I don't think it is, but that was like the only thought that I had that was even sort of in the ballpark. And I'll send in that Neophthalus thing too, because that's pretty interesting too. If I get to submit stuff. So this is not terribly interesting. It's pretty common, but you can see here the KOH reaction that you get on Hapalopolis rudolens. So that purple is where I dropped the put a drop of KOH on the fruit body. So this is a dyer's mushroom. I mean, sometimes you'll find bigger ones or more spread out, covering, substantial portions of a log. In this case, this was just a little one on a little birch branch.
That's a unusual color, right? Reaction.
There's a few other things that do this. There's a hypomyces that grows on polypores that has like a reaction that's not dissimilar from this KOH reaction, but maybe a little more red than a deep purple like this.
That's the orange hypomyces, right?
Yeah, it's orange. Yeah, so it ends up. So I know this because I mistook it once for Hapilopilus croceus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had the same introduction to that mushroom, that hypomyces.
Yeah. This is a very, very small version of the. Okay, so this was at Stokes. So now Nina had questioned my idea on this because she was looking at some photos, I guess, online or something. But this species, Sphagnurus paluster, is highly variable morphology. Sometimes it's a lot darker than these. Sometimes it's lighter than these. Sometimes they're almost white. Sometimes they're almost black. But they're always small. They're always white spored. They're always growing right in sphagnum moss. And a lot of times they have a little umbo like these do. But I'm quite certain of my ID here. And sometimes they're a little bit striate along the margin. So this is one of these mushrooms that you just learn by finding it many, many times. And you just mentally incorporate the gestalt of the mushroom, because the colors can be really variable. But it's always small. So that was from Stokes.
Tell us about the stipe. Is the stipe fragile on that or fairly substantial?
It's pretty fragile. They're actually hard to. A lot of these sphagnum mushrooms are, except for the Laccarias, which are, you can bend them almost to 180 degrees and they don't break. But a lot of these other sphagnum mushrooms are fragile.
Fragile. Okay.
Yeah, and they're not real some. That's another thing though. That's also variable. Sometimes these are a little bit resilient, and sometimes you try to pick one and it falls in half. When you're just trying to harvest it. So that's another thing that seems to be somewhat variable. Now I did send Sphagnurus paluster in for sequencing once, and I got a sequence. And there were like 100 Sphagnurus paluster matches, and they're all like 100%. So it tells me like there's probably not a species complex here. It's probably just one thing. But
Dave, was she kind of making the case that this might be a Mycena?
She didn't propose an altered proposal, but I think this probably used to be Mycena.
Well, I only bring that up. I agree. This is Sphagnurus paluster, but we did have one sequence that, I mean, give her credit. She was like, I don't think that's Sphagnurus paluster, and I think that's Mycena, and it came back as this interesting Mycena. So, every time I find one that doesn't immediately, every time I find one that isn't in dead sphagnum, that doesn't have, something feels a little bit off about it. That's always in the back of my mind.
Well, I find a lot of Mycena in sphagnum moss.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's always sort of in the back of my mind.
But yeah, I agree with the ID.
Yeah, so this was found on our foray on Saturday in Pennsylvania. So there's a trail through the woods in this campsite, this camping, this it's like a Lutheran camp. And once there's no more kids there, once that season ends, then it's open to the public. So we had a foray there on Saturday. And so this was growing right on the trail that's sort of covered in wood chips that are pretty well trodden. And it certainly looks like a Conocybe to me. Look at the sort of the reddish brown gills, just sort of the gestalt of it. This was several hours after it had been harvested, so it was starting to dry. I probably should have tried to get a picture of it as soon as I harvested it, but I didn't. I waited, so it got a little bit shriveled up. But the really interesting thing about this one is the cystidia that I found on the gills. Did a smash mount, and there's these great big cystidia, and they're not tibiaform like you're supposed to find on Conocybe species. The tibiaform means it's like a straight, very even thickness, even width shaft with a little round head on top. So it would be capitate. So these are like subcapitate, and they are fairly even width from the base up to the head. So they're pretty long, though. These cystidia seem pretty long. So unfortunately, it was just this one fruit body, and there wasn't much to it, and it wasn't in real good condition once I got it home. So instead of putting it in the dryer, I withheld it to look at the micro. I probably should have dried it out. That probably would have been a better choice, really.
Yeah, because the orange Conocypes that I'm used to, don't they have those really interesting cystidia?
They're
Kind of
supposed to, but I never find them.
like the sorry piece looking cystidia. That's the way I always think of them, right?
Well, they call them tibiaform, I think. It's just like a real narrow, equally thickness shaft with a round head.
Yeah, I guess that's what you would call these. But like Canospe aureum, for example, that has the cystidia that they're very wide, like they're really wide at the base, and then they taper up to the top, and then have a little
Oh,
capitate
okay.
thing going on.
Okay. So sort of like a tower with a head on it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I've ever found that species. I don't. That doesn't ring a bell. But okay. So I guess these cystidia are not far off from what you would expect to find in a Conocybe.
And I'm not super familiar with the genus. I only really know aureum and the one you find in lawns.
Apollo.
Yeah, it starts with an
It's
A
the white
for sure.
one.
The white one, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be Lactia. Now it's Apollo. It was something else before that too.
But I think both of those species have cystidia that look different than this. But these are interesting looking at the very least.
Yeah. I try to find cystidia on Conospia Paula, and I'm never able to find anything. I think maybe because I smashed the gill, and maybe when you smash it, it just covers up the cystidia. I don't know. Maybe I have to do a Roman aqueduct to really see those cystidia. So I found two of these on Saturday. I'm pretty sure that of the identification Enzymoma luteum. It really, the morphology really fits. I didn't get any spores out of this. At least I don't think I did. There were a few different entelomas, and some of them I got spores, and some of them I didn't.
Yellow everything, or
Yeah, except for the gills. The gills are
Hmm.
white. Sort of this sorted yellow with greenish tinge color pretty much on the whole thing, except for the white mycelium on the base of the stipe. And the spore and the gills are pretty much white or whitish. So there's another one, the smaller one. I'm pretty sure they're the same species. So there's a lot of different Ensilema mushrooms, and this one's pretty distinctive because of the color. So I think the Formosa is kind of similar, but it's not as shiny and maybe a little bit more scaly.
Yeah, a little bit more scaly, less conical.
Yeah, less
Right.
conical. Right. Yeah, less conical.
And I was just looking up luteum because in my head, luteum was yellow everything, but no, luteum can have, whitish colored gills, especially when
Yeah.
young.
Yeah. Yep.
I agree. I
There's
agree.
another one
I
called
agree with this.
unicolor that you might confuse with this one.
Again, less conical.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think that one is well, it has an interesting gill attachment as well as like no coloration on the cap. It's just like no decoration on the cap.
Yeah, it's just yellow.
Yeah, it's just yellow. Exactly.
It's like a solid yellow. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, luteum looks good for me.
Yeah. So could this be the mythical Laccaria bicolor? So the base of the stalk had mycelium on it that the pictures I took, the color didn't come through just right. It looks more blue.
Yeah, but you can tell it's not white. It's blue
It's
or
not
purple.
white. It's
Yeah.
not white. Yeah, it was more purple than blue, really. These photos, for some reason, look really blue. Maybe because of the contrast with the brownish purplish stipe. That might be the reason why it looks kind of blue. The gills are kind of subdecurrent, broadly attached subdecurrent. And the spores were variably shaped. So there were globose, subglobose, some broadly ellipsoid. But the one thing I didn't find was for Laccaria bicolor, supposedly they have these really long spines, almost 2 microns long. I did not see that on these, even when I looked through my better microscope. I did not see long spines on the spores. Now, maybe my scopes aren't good enough. I'm not sure. I can't take pictures through my binocular scope. They don't come out.
What are they mounted in?
Congo red. That was the other thing too. Maybe I shouldn't use Congo red. Maybe it's
sometimes when I use
it.
the red, it'll take stuff off.
Yeah, that occurred to me, Chris. That's a good suggestion. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring home some Laccaria and start looking at spores mounted in different substances, KOH, water. Maybe I'll see what happens with cotton blue. I'll try a few different things because I might be missing something here because the liquid I'm mounting it is obscuring the ornamentation. So I agree that's a good possibility. But then when I put these on INAT insisted on calling them Laccaria bicolor complex. So there might be more than one species too, and maybe these don't all have the same microscopic characters.
Yeah, and I was just looking on Myco Quebec. Did you look at? I can't even remember the name because it's not on there. It's like Laccaria tricholomorpha, I think it is. Trichomorpha.
Oh God, I don't know that one now.
Maybe it's included in that bicolor complex. But yeah, bicolor or something similar looks good here. And I was just looking at that. I was just looking at Myco Quebec at Laccaria. Go ahead, Dave. My bad.
Oh no, that's all right. No, that's all I wanted to say, really. I think there's another Laccaria coming up here. I'm not sure. I think I may have shared a few of them.
Mm.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Proxima. So this one has white basal mycelium. So you might wonder, well, why don't I just call it Lacata? Well, the spores are mostly broadly ellipsoid, and that would seem to be wrong for Lacata.
All right.
So if you can zoom in on these spores, we'll see that most of them are broadly ellipsoid, or at least a significant percentage. I don't know how much you can zoom in, but you can see a lot. Quite a few of them are broadly ellipsoid. Yeah, like that one. Go up to the left. Yeah, a lot of them are broadly ellipsoid. So that's why I'm calling this Proxima. Or is it Proxima or Proxima?
Proxima.
Proxima. Okay.
And I'm lagging behind. Sorry. For the last one, also consider Nobilis, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose I should look that up also. Yeah.
That one at least has purple basal mycelium.
Oh, okay.
And for the
okay, I'm gonna have to look at that species. That's right.
And for the smaller one that you shared earlier that you were calling ohiensis, did you look at I think it's tortoise?
Oh, that one. Oh, that's right. There's that other name, tortoise something.
Yeah. But I'm just looking. I think your ID was still correct, just based on a couple things that I saw. But that one also has very few gills.
Yeah. It's small.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I know. I suspect those might be synonyms.
They could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be right back. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back.
Well, I think that's all everybody had to share. So maybe this is a good time to call it a night.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, some great observations. Beautiful photos. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mike. Good to see you.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Right.
Thank you.